Actually, today we are going to discuss about some of the interview questions which are previously asked for the DV engineers. In the interview questions, we are not going to discuss about the theory parts because most of the people have gone through those theory parts, such as difference between non-blocking and blocking statements, and difference between dredge and wire, what is continuous assignment, what is procedural statement, like that. These questions you can get answers from most of the internets, and most of the people know these answer for these questions, I think. So today what we are going to do is we are going to discuss the questions which is basically programming questions, logical questions. Those things are only we are going to discuss today. Okay. In the while doing those programs and all, if you have any doubts, you can ask at any time. Okay. So for the first question is, this is the most asked question in whenever you are going for interviews, they will ask you for the questions such as write a Verilog code for counting the number of ones or zeros in a byte. Okay, first in a byte, uh, there are 8 bits, right? 8 bits are combined together, which is called as byte, right? So they are ask us to count the number of, either they will ask for number of ones, or they will ask for the number of zeros which are present in that 8-bit 1 byte. So in order to find the number of ones or zeros in the 8-bit, first we need to declare, right? First module top. Now to we need data, right? Data in Verilog there is no bit, right? So we need to use reg sound down to 0, then data. Okay, then in order to count the number of ones, we need a variable to store the number of ones or zeros which is present in that data. So for in order to count that, I'm taking the count variable, which is also a reg data type. So here, how many bits of reg is needed to store the number of 8 bits, number of ones present in the 8 bits. If it is a 8-bit, then we have a possibility of 8 zeros or 8 ones. Yeah, any number is possible. So here, the number of bits which we need to count that number of ones which are present in the data is the main thing. They will see how much variable you are taking here, how many bits you are taking here. This is the main thing they will notice. Okay, so minimum there should be a zero number of ones, right? If I am taking count number of ones, minimum it will take a zero number of ones. Maximum how many ones will be there? Hello, we are taking 1 byte of data. In the 1 byte of data there will be 8 bits of the data. So in the 8 bits, maximum how many number of ones will be possible?
8.
8, sir.
Yeah, okay, it's a 8 number of ones is a possible. Minimum 0, then maximum of 8. Now to represent 0 to 8, how many bit of variable I need to store? If it is a 2-bit variable, I can store 0 to 3, right? Here
Yeah,
I
4 bit
want to
unit.
store 0 to 8. Then how
4 bit
many
unit.
bits of, how many?
4.
4. Okay. For by using 4 we can store 0 to 15, but here our maximum value is 8 only. So if we take 3, then it will go up to 0 to 7. If all the bits are 1, then we can be able to store that, we can be able to show the value of 8. So in order to make that 8 also possible, we are taking 4-bit. So that is nothing but 3 down to 0, which is a count. So after that, here in order to do something, we need to use some procedural block, right? So always at. Here in the bracket we need to give the sensitivity list for whatever all the changes which are present, which is happened for the variables which I mentioned here, where will be reflected. Then the code inside this always block will be executed, right? So here what I am doing is, here I am going to put the data. Okay, data begin then end. So whenever the data is changes, then this always block will be executed, right? So now inside this, in order to count the number of ones, what are all the logics we can use? Can anyone suggest any logics? So I'm having a data. We take the data as 011011101. This is the data I need to count. In this data, if I count, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 number of ones. So my count variable should have the value of 5. I need to make this count should be incremented till 5 if the values, if the data has 1. Okay. So anyone
Yeah.
can
So
suggest any of the, yeah,
yeah, c- can I say? Yeah. In
can.
can I say, sir?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Tell me.
Yeah.
What's the
In
logic?
in a Yeah, in a loop, you can iterate this data, and if any bit of this data I is equal to 1, then in that case, you can increase the count for 1. And if you
Yeah.
want to increase for 0, then you can make
Yeah.
it equal 0. And
Okay. So, what the your name, please?
Gaurav,
Yeah. What the suggestion given by him is really a good suggestion. Okay. For I equal to 0, I should be less than 8. So then only it will iterate from 0 to 7, right? Because here we are mentioning 0 to 7. So here I am taking I equal to 0, I less than 8, I plus plus. So in the, these are all the things they will check for. They are asked for the Verilog code. So here there is no I plus plus, right? Only the, in the system Verilog there is a concept of I plus plus incremental operator. Here there is no incremental operator. So we need to use I equal to I plus 1 we need to use. Okay. So here the, we can't be able to initialize the value of int here. We need to declare in the above int I. Okay. Inside this begin end, inside this what I am going to do is, if what is the data of I equal to, if, okay, we need to check for the condition. If data of I equal to, both are same, right? Data, if data of I equal to 1, and if data of I, both are same, right? Because whenever this is equal to 1, here if it is 1 then it is true. So writing data of I equal to 1 and writing if data of I, both are same. If I am want to mention if data equal to 0, if data equal to 0, then if I want to write if not of data of I, both are same only. Okay. So here data of I, that means here the data first, the in the iteration I equal to 0. If I equal to 0, then here the data of I is, data of 0 is 1. So it will be true. Then it will count equal to count plus 1. So this is the method by which if I equal to 1, then data of I equal to 0. So this condition will fail. So it won't increment the value. Okay. This is the one method. So we have found, we have written that for count number of, if it is a count number of zeros, we have the ones. If it is 0, what should we need to do? In the, nothing. Only difference is if data of I equal to, the only changes if you done here, then it will be, it will count the number of zeros. Or else if data of I not of, then it will gives the value for number of uh, it will give the value of number of zeros in a byte. Okay. Now this is the count. Here my range data count equal to 0, always at the data beginning end. So count equal to 0. Can anyone tell me why here we are taking that count equal to 0 initially? If you are tell anything wrong, that's not a problem. The only thing is you need to try something. Then only you can able to crack the interviews. If you want to, the main motto or the main quality that the interviewer required in you is nothing but your involvement and eagerness to learn something. So if you able to build those things, then you can able to easily crack the interview. So here if I ask something, if try to give some answers, whether it is the right answer or wrong answer, that's not an issue at all. So but try to give some answers, try to give some inputs. Okay. So can anyone tell me here why we are initializing that account as 0?
So can I?
Yeah, sure.
So count is equals to 0 when input logic is high, then we just
Input logic. Okay. So here why we are taking that count equal to 0 is initially the reg. What is the default value of reg?
X.
X.
X, right? So initially I am making that count equal to 0. Okay. So consider here I didn't initialize any count equal to 0. I am writing for I equal to 0, I less than 8. For whenever I change the value of data, this always block will be executed, right? So here in this I am repeating 6 times. I am giving some repeat of data. I am giving some random data. After that I am printing those data. So whenever for 6 times this always block will be executed, right? That's what this program does. So for initially consider that 00100010. This is the first value I have given. So here I have given some data. So the data is changes. So this always block will be executed. So whenever this always block executed, it will come in. So first the value of I equal to 0. Here I need to initialize that integer I, right? I didn't mention that. Okay, I equal to 0. So I is equal to 0 is 0. So this is not true. So the count is remained as at 0. So I equal to 1. This is 1. So this is 2. Then it will become 1. Here I equal to, then it will again increment. Then I equal to value of 2. So this is 0. It will continue to be 1. So here again in the continue files again to be 1. So after this 8 data, it should be 2, right? So what is the variable of the count? It will be 2. Okay. If again I am going to change this data, so it will display the data equal to these things. Then the number of ones present in the count, here I am printing the count variable. So it will print the count as 2. It will print this data and it will, so again it will come from here. So one time it is executed, then again second time it is going to be executed. So data equal to $random, right? So again I am going to give some data. Consider 1001 0110. This is the second data I am giving. So here the data is changes, right? So once the data is changes, it will again goes into the always block, right? So here it will start to execute this for loop. So tell me what is the value of the count when I'm going to now I'm giving the some other data, new data. It is because of the data changes, this sensitive list has been activated. So the whatever the things which are present inside this always block will going to be executed, right? So I already counted that variable, which is count variable equal to 2. So again I have changed to some other data. Now it is again coming into this always block. Now tell me what is the count variable here. Before getting into this for loop, what will be the count variable? It is 0 or 2. Can anyone tell me?
2, sir.
Yeah, here the count variable will be 2. Here only the things is only 4. Count value is 4. Only the number of ones which are present here is only 4, right? But here the already the count is 2. I didn't initialize that count variable equal to 0. You can ask that we always initialize this count equal to 0, right? But here the count equal to 0 only executed at the initial part of the time. Whenever it started to execute, the first time only it will be make this count equal to 0. So after whenever I changes the data, the count value should be equal to that same value. Whatever the value which is given for the last data is will be retained in that always block. We are retained in this count variable. So in order to make that count variable to 0 whenever the data is changes. So for that purpose we are making that count equal to 0. This will be initialized whenever the data is changes from one variable to another variable. If it is data is equal to some value, then it will make that count equal to 0. Then it will comes into this for loop. It will execute, it will increment the count variable. If the data has three ones, then the count will become 3. So after that it won't come here, it won't make that count equal to 0. When again I will give some other data, it will comes in here, then it will make that count equal to 0. If that data has 4 number of ones, then the data, the count will be incremented till 4. So whatever may be the data, how many times I am changing the data, I will get the appropriate data for the appropriate count for the current data which I have, which I am giving, right? Did you understand why we are using this? Are you clear? Did anyone have any doubt? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. If here, if I want to count the number of zeros, the only thing is I need to put one exclamatory mark, not off. Okay. If it is not off, then it will count the number of zeros present in the data. Okay. So here we are using that count variables, using the loop. Okay, using for loop. Sometimes they will ask you to write a code to count the number of ones or count the number of zeros, but they will ask you to use without any loop. Can anyone suggest any ideas to write a program Verilog code without count the number of ones, without using any loops? Can anyone suggest? Hello. Try something.
So by using like if else statement we can write this, I think.
Yeah, in if else statement also we can use, but in order to iterate through that byte value, right? Yeah, first I need to check that 0 value, then I need to check that first bit, then I need to check the second bit. I need to make that I value increment, right? So for that we need there is a need for loop. So I will tell you that solution
Can I say some?
is nothing but, yeah, can tell me.
You, you can use the case statement also.
Case statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, we can also use that case statement also. That only drawback in the case statement is we need to, if I am having 2 power 8, right? We need to initialize 2 power 8 possibilities in order to count that value. You know, because it can be if the for only one number of ones in a byte. There are possibilities like there are 8 possibilities, right? For only one number of one, right? So in order to give all the possibilities, I need to write 2 power 8 case statements. So this is also a one possible ways, but it will get me some more workload. Okay. So the best way, simplest way is we are going to count the all the bits. That's it. Here the data will have 0 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus will give how many? Will give me 2, right? Here 0 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1 is equal to, what will be the result of this? Hello?
2.
Yeah, it will gives me 2. So this is the thing I am going to use here. I am going to add all the data of 0, data of 1, data of 2, data of 3, data of 4, data of 5, data 6 and data 7. So if the data variable is 0 1 1 0 1 0 0 1, so here the data of 0 is 1. Here it will take 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 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 plus, like that it will count all the numbers. So if it is 4 ones, it will give me number of ones is 4. This is the best way, right? Without using any for loop. So whatever may be the value I am giving, it will add all the data value and it will assign it into the count variables. So it will give me the count number of ones present in the data. So here it will gives me number of ones present in the data, right? So if they ask me to count the number of zeros present in the data, what will be the possible solution? We already got the solution for count the number of ones. If they ask you to give the answers for number of zeros, what will be the solution? There will be more than 2 solutions. Can anyone suggest any of the solutions?
Total bits minus number of ones, sir.
Can repeat again?
Total data width minus number of ones.
Yeah, if the total bit is 8 and the number of ones is 3, then the number of zeros will be 5, right? This is the one of the possible solution. So here what I am going to do is, here I am going to do 8 minus this. So if it returns 3, then it will minus that 3 from 8, so it will give me the number of zeros. Okay, this is one solution. There is one more solution is also available there. I already discussed only the 5 minutes back. So here for this it will count the 0 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0 plus, like that. If it is there, it will count the number of ones. Okay, but I want to make to count the number of zeros only, I need to count. So what is the possible solution? I am going to make this as whenever the 0 is there, I am going to make this as 1. Whenever the wherever 1 is there, I am going to make this as 0. This is the one of the possible solution, right? So before everything, I am going to put 1, not of, not of, not of, not of, not of, not of. So what will happen if the values are having the 0? It will change that 0 as 1 and 1 as 0. So it will count the number of ones which are number of zeros which are present in the data, right? Okay. Did you all aware of the constraints, right? Did you all know the basics of constraints, right? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here they will the most of the things they will judge you and the interview, in order to judge you, they will use that constraint and assertions to check your thinking capability, logical thinking capability. They will ask you the constraints and assertion questions. Okay, so in order to crack the interview, try to do number of problems in the assertion and the constraints hands-on. Okay, once you done hands-on, you can able to create, generate the output using Costa Sim, Model Sim or EDL playground. Then only you can able to, you can get some knowledge, some way how can, if some questions asked in this way, how we can come up with the solutions to get the solution for that. Like that, you need to do some hands-on. Then only you can be familiar with the constraints. So here the question is, whenever if you see some of the questions of the constraints, that questions will be little huge. Okay, so yeah, you need to get the pinpoint, or you need to separate the single questions into multiple constraints. If you see here, they ask you to write a constraint. Write a constraint for array of numbers such that the size of arrays ranges from 16 to 32 elements, and even index should have the odd numbers, and the odd index should have the even numbers. The number range is between 16 to 127. If you study, if you read the whole constraint, you will feel that it will be little difficult. You feel that it is a little difficult question. So you need to separate this into a number of constraints. So first write a constraint, okay, for an array of number, okay, such that the size of the array, okay, they are, the first thing they are asking is size of an array from 16 to 32. Can anyone give some suggestion how to write a constraint for size of an array? If I am taking int array array a, or only a, I am taking int a. Can anyone suggest me how to write the constraints or constraint for the size of an array?
You can use inside constants, sir. Between the range 16 to 32.
Yeah, inside
That
keyword
also,
we need to use. Inside keyword
yeah.
we need to use whenever we are we need to give some range. Inside keyword we need to use. Now to give the array size, there is one
Yeah.
built-in methods which are present for the array. We need to use that method. Can anyone tell me that inbuilt method?
A dot size, you mean?
Yeah, which is nothing but a dot size. Okay, so in the normal thing, if you wrote a dot size, it will return me some value, how many array elements are present. So by using that, we are going here, we are going to write the constraints. So int ary, okay, so ary dot size is equal to, if it is a fixed number, then we can use equal to. Here they are asked for the range of numbers. So inside a of size, inside square bracket. So not to give flower bracket, not to give some range, we need to use the square bracket, 16 down to 32. So it will give me that array of size which will be different from 16 to 32. So I have done with up to this, right? We have done. If we run this, it will generate some array with the value size of the array will be between 16 to 32. So then they are giving us the array of even index should have the odd number. So they are telling that if the index, so if it is a 5-bit 5 array, okay, it is have 5 index. So a of 0, a of 1, a of 2, then it will have a of 3, then it will have a of 4, right? So if the index, even index, that means 0 is a even number, 2 is a even number, 4 is a even number. If it is an even index, this index should have the odd values. Okay, will have the odd values. If it is odd, then it should have the even values. So can anyone suggest me some solution for this?
You can write one constant for index, and if that index is odd, then the another constant for the number, and that number should be the even, and also that number in will be in between the second to 127. So three constant you need to write.
When whether the index is, need to
Yeah,
check that,
for
right?
the for the
Yeah,
each index. If it is a even, then first write the condition for the even index.
yeah.
M is
For
divisible by
that,
2.
is I need to use any loop.
No loop in the constant only.
Yeah, in order to go through for every array of value, I need to go tell that the array value should be inside this, like that I need to give, right? So in order to give
Yes,
that, I need to iterate from 0 to 3. So here I can be able to use that for loop. Here for that we can use the for each. So for each of a or y of I, so it will whatever may be the value, if the value of say 16, it will iterate from 0 to 15 automatically. Here there is no need to give I equal to 0, I less than 16, then I equal to I plus 1. These things I don't need to give in the for each. It will take care by the tool itself. So for each array of I, so if the value of 16, it will iterate from 0 to 15. The value is 30, it will iterate from 0 to 29. So we can able to go to the all the values which is all the arrays which is present in the array. Okay, so here there is no begin, and I need to use the open brace and close brace. Inside that, I need to check whether the I is even or odd. Okay, here what is the index? Index is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here this I is the index, right? I need to check whether the I is 1 or 0, that means odd or even. I need to check. So for that I am going to use if I mod 2. Okay, I mod 2. If I mod 2 equal to 0, then then the I is even or odd.
even one.
Yeah, then the number is even. So if I mod 2 equal to 0, then then it is even. Then a of array of I. Here I am checking for the what it is. Here I am checking for the index. Here I need to write the value which is present inside that index. Right here I am checking for the 0. Then I am checking for the value which is present in the a of 0. Right. So I am telling array a or y of I mod 2 equal to 1. If it is even, then it should be odd, right? The odd that value should be 1, right? If
Yeah,
I mod 2 equal to 1, that means this index is odd. That means IR y of I mod 2 equal to 0. So if it is a even index, I have put the odd number. If it is an odd index, then I am putting that even numbers into that. Okay, into that array. So till this we have completed. So then the number range. Here we are telling that the number inside that array should be even, should be odd. Only, yeah. Did you have any questions?
Vaibhav sir,
Anyone have any
you can
questions?
continue. Continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Array of I mod 2 equal to 0. Here I am, if it is odd, that number inside that should be even. If it is even, the number inside the array should be odd. That is the thing here I am giving. So after that, they are telling that number range should be 16 to 127. So here I am going. Okay. Now the interviewer asks you to write a constraint by giving some other values here instead of 16, 20 to 50. Here 200 to 1000. Can you all able to write the constraints? Hello, can you all hear me? Is my audio voice is audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you able to write answer the answer for this question? Or again, I can repeat this how to write the constraint for this. Can I repeat?
Yes, sir.
So in the questions, whenever they ask you to write any constraints, you need to first you need to split the questions. Here they asked you to write a constraint for the array of size. Okay, array of size that should be between 16 to 32. Then if it is if index, okay, index is odd, then the number inside should be even. Okay, then they are asking if the index value is even, then the value inside that index should be odd. Okay, then all the values inside the element, inside all the index should be 16 down to 124, between 16 to 124. So these are the 4 constraints. You can be able to split 1, 2, 3, and 4 constraints. So first you need to solve from one by one. Okay, now to make that array of size between 16 down to 32, you are going to use that inbuilt method which are present for the array, which is nothing but array.size are using a equal to array.size. It will return you that array size of that array. Okay, so here we are using that in order to make that constraint array.size inside 16 down to 32. So that will make an array that should be that should have the size between 16 to 32 for every randomization. Okay, so in order to give this should be a dynamic array. If you give some other value, we can be able to change that into a dynamic array. So in order to make this to be happen, here that should be a open bracket and close bracket. That means it's a dynamic array. So by using this constraint, we compute this condition. Then we need to check for the index whether it is odd or even. If the index is odd, then the value inside that index. So here A of 0, then A of 1, then A of 2. Inside each, there will be some value present, right? A of 0, there should be some value. A of 1, there should be some value. A of 2, there should be some value. If it is here, we are calling this as index. This is the data which is present inside that index. Okay. So first I need to check whether the index is odd or even. For that, I need to divide this value. I need to mod this value with 2. Then only I can able to check whether the index is odd or even. Okay. So for that, I am using if I. This I is nothing but the index 0 or 1 and 2. A of I, that means A of 0, that is the element we are. Now to refer to this index, we need to use that I value. Here I am using array of I, right? If I am using array of Z, then here I need to use Z mod 2. Okay. So in order to refer to this index value 0, 1, and 2, I need to use that variable which I am using here. Here I am using I, so I am using I mod 2, array of I mod 2 equal to 0. That means if it is array I mod 2, that means it is 0. Yeah, that means it is giving that 1. Okay. If here it is if the value inside this is always true, once except the value is 0. If here I mod 2 equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever may be the value, it will be true only. Else, if it is having the value of 0, then only it will be false. Okay. So anything apart from 0 is treated as 1 for the if condition, or for whatever the condition, if condition, and other conditions if you are using. Okay. So here if I mod 2, that means here I mod 2 equal to 1, then the number is add. That means A of 1 and A of 3 and A of 5 and so on. Okay. If it is so, then the value which is present in the A of I should be equal to 0. That means it should be a even number. Okay. So here if it is odd, then the value inside there should be a even number. Else that should, the element which is present inside that array should be a even number. Okay. If it is even, then it is odd. If it is odd, then it is even. That's what here we are telling. Then array of I inside. Then we are coming to the last point, that the array of I inside should be a value of 16 to 127. So it will pick the value between 16 to 127. That in that if we have